Would you watch a show where a billionaire CEO has to go an entire month on their lowest paid employee's salary, without access to any other resources than that of the employee? What do you think would happen? They'd be fine. The problem with poverty is not usually day-to-day costs. People can adjust to that. It's unexpected expenses that are crippling. Edit: why are people still responding 2 weeks later? Nobody is reading this thread anymore. At least not the responses at the bottom. Edit 2: rant was too whiny. If you have something to say, who am I to say otherwise? It is a mix. Day to day you can realistically only spend 5 to 10 out of pocket that even a minimum wage worker can deal with. But pro-rate in the monthly costs, and it gets crazy. In my area, a one-bedroom in a bad area is still $1,200 per month, or about $40 a day. Transit for most people will be at least $5, and that is cost of mass transit to and from work, more if you drive, car, insurance, upkeep, gas. Not having a car is not always an option. On 40 hours at $10 an hour, you are bringing in about $1,200 a month. You lose some of that to taxes, but let's be nice and say you get it all. You already cannot afford a studio apartment, so you need a roommate. So you have to hopefully find someone sane, but that is not a given. So basically, on your own, on a full-time minimum wage job, you basically are eating garbage to just not be hungry. Living with 2 to 3 roommates with the same problems you have, and will have no ability to save enough to ever make a difference. $500 is huge savings over a whole year for you, and that is not life-changing at all. I recently found out the hard way that an ambulance ride is $2,500. There was this similar themed show in Hong Kong and mainland China years ago. They swapped billionaire with bottom feeders, let the rich do the basic job, on the lowest salary, to see how far the rich could go by purely their own effort. Nearly all of the billionaire admitted that they could not make anywhere, regardless of how hard they worked, and even working without sleeping and resting could not give you any accumulation to help climb up to the higher level of the society. There was only despair, and admission that the divide between the poor and the rich is already a deep valley, and mere personal effort makes little sense. It stirred big debate among the society back then, and I think that was part of the reasons the show got cancelled. There was also another show in China, swapping senior political figures with community-level council workers, to see how good they could do in each other's posts. The mayors were flooded by the angry mobs who kept asking for more and more benefits that were impossible to fulfill. By the end had to admit the amount of work at basic community level was too much to achieve anywhere. The show also got cancelled quite soon after a few episodes. What's the show? And are there ways to find it online? The show is called In Cantonese. This is all 3 seasons of the show in a single playlist. It is entirely in Cantonese without English subs though. Radio Television Hong Kong, RTHK, the producer of the series, revisited some of the people in the show and did a few follow-up episodes. You can find those. Edit: for those looking for English subs, another kind Redditor found a version broadcasted in English and commented on the video itself. Web link. There was a similar show on British TV, Rich Kids Go Homeless. Here's a link. Web link. There was a UK show where celebs lived with benefit claimants for a week, only a few episodes. One was Boris Johnson's sister, the journalist. I remember she criticized the woman for smoking bootleg cigarettes on £70 a week. What a waste of money. At the end she said there was no wonder she smoked, life was so hard and miserable, and she'd smoke as well in that situation. People kept petitioning for the likes of Ian Duncan Smith to live on £70 and see how far he gets. Still think that's a pretty good idea for all MPs who affect policy. Or sending the fat soft politicians out to get shot at as an infantry soldier in the next war they send our kids into. Why don't presidents fight the war? Why do they always send the poor? He's the head of Amazon. Hi, I'm Jeff Bezos. She's a low-level greeter at Walmart. Have a great day. Put them together in the same apartment. Jeff, we're out of toilet paper. Go to Dollar General and grab some. How much can that cost? Like $10,000 a roll? Coming this season to ABC, Perfectly Unbalanced, starring Elon Musk as the next-door neighbor. Elon: Jeff, have you ever wanted to go to space? Jeff: if I did, the ship would look like my dick. Canned laughter. Just wipe with low-denomination bills. Like 20s or something. He's unlikely to carry cash, so maybe scrape it with a card. Does this do contactless? Oh my god. Art, get in here and do this for me. I don't do this. This isn't me. Jeff would just whip out his Amazon Prime and order some TP for same-day delivery. Watch the hilarious hijinks when it's not delivered on the same day, it's delivered to the wrong address, it's delivered to the correct address, but stolen off the porch. I wish they had done these shows in the US, say, 10 to 15 years ago. Entertainment media can get away with a little more here, and Undercover Boss was popular enough I think the audience would be satisfactory to whichever network it landed on. It might have pushed things forward a little bit more. Or not, maybe. Undercover Boss was fantastic propaganda. See how I, the benevolent overseer employer, can relate to my chattel employee. I may even select one of my herd and grant them a tiny portion of my personal fortune. See how much joy is on this peasant's face as they are finally able to afford basic necessities. I am a good lord. What I didn't like about Undercover Boss was it ended in grand gestures for a few select employees. Instead of raising wages or improving employee retention, the boss would buy a house for the single mother manager who lost her house in a tragic fire, or give a scholarship to that 19-year-old hard-working employee that attends school full-time also. Undercover Boss is pure effing dystopian propaganda. Oh, yes, your lives suck, but one of you gets a small one-time lottery win by being the token poor person chosen to get some false heartwarming bullcrap while there's no actual positive change for anyone. Doesn't that feel good, everyone? Your rich rulers learned a lesson about your miserable lives. Barf. Why raise wages when it's a better feel-good story to have the CEO buy Becky, the single mother working 2 jobs who takes care of her grandmother on life support, a new Ford Escape? Lol, still better than Undercover Boss Canada. Hey Sharon, we know you're struggling for paying for university for your daughter while taking care of your parents with dementia and your other daughter with autism, but we heard she loves Cinderella, so here's a week-long trip to Disney World. I mean, I absolutely agree with you, but understand that Undercover Boss was just a show that gave companies an opportunity at a huge PR stunt that people would watch intentionally under the guise of entertainment. I watched a ton of them, so no judgment here, so the grand gestures were meant to make the viewer feel things. Making actual overall improvements doesn't tug at your heartstrings as much, which was unfortunately the goal of the PR stunts. 3 months minimum and I'd watch it, thanks for the gold. With problem scenarios thrown in. Broken down car tubes strike dodgy boiler, sick child, the wheels would come off pretty quickly. Don't forget the pay rent or buy food dilemma scenario. Solved that 1 years ago. Just buy ramen noodles and eat 2 packs of that every day until you're caught back up on rent. Easy peasy. Don't forget to chuck in a handful of frozen/tinned veg, an egg and a bit of soy sauce to convince yourself that it's a proper meal. And triple the cost? No. It's about efficiency. Tongue. Pay rent every time. I can skip a few meals as long as I have a roof over my head. Anything is possible when you dumpster dive behind a supermarket. Best haul ever, a wine bottle broke, so the store tossed 3 cases of wine into the dumpster because the labels were compromised and they couldn't sell them. Tesco near me have a huge haul of out-of-date bread twice a week, so this dude comes by in his estate car and fills up so he can use it to feed his pigs. I've had loaves from him so I could crumble it for breadcrumbs for stuffing, coatings for scotch eggs, etc. Got to say, my best haul as a student was when they were throwing out bags of flour because they had surpassed their use-by date. How in the hell do they let that happen? Flour lasts for 8 months. So wasteful. I once went to a bagel shop at 4 a.m. when they were getting ready to open. One of the employees was getting ready to toss a giant garbage bag filled with bagels from the day before. I saw him walk out the door and he asked if I wanted them. Yeah, I want 200 free bagels. I kept a couple dozen and dropped the rest off at an encampment. I ate only bagels for a week. It's wild that baked goods that would normally sit at my house for a week are no longer good at the store after 12 hours. Survival priorities. Shelter, water, food. Just suck the landlord off. Easy. Saw it work in a porno once. You have died of dysentery. Well, with a broken down car, the wheels have already come off. Let's also add in the housing loan bill being overdue, and now they're just a couple of days away from being dragged out of their homes. And after that, you've still got to show up to work and put on a happy face or get 3 different earfuls from your 3 different bosses. This comment reminds me that I only have 6 more decades until I finally die. This comment reminded me of how excited I am for my natural retirement. At this point, it's my only retirement option. Yeah. My retirement will probably involve me going to prison or something, since I barely have anything else to pull from. Got to get health care somehow. With the right choices, you can cut that down to 3 decades tops. Smoke as many cigarettes as you can fit in your mouth, acquire a habit for downing bottles of absinthe, and shelf a F-load of pingers. Repeat the process twice weekly for best results. Crystal meth will really accelerate things. And shelf a F-load of pingers. WTF does this mean? Rectal application of MDMA. We call that boofing around here. Hospital bill. Or tell them to go get a sick note. And they can't just call it quits. Failure means spending the rest of the 3 months on the streets. And they're constantly at risk of being fired. No special treatment whatsoever. Literally. The ultimate undercover at a separate company. They get fired, they lose their job. They lose their company. And every episode, they have to spend at least 45 minutes, we see a condensed version, reading internet comments telling them all about bootstraps, and getting a real job. I'd also like to see them apply to other jobs with the resume of one of those employees. Give them 3 lifelines, like on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, only the lifelines are buried under red tape, and cannot be used in the case of pre-existing conditions. God damn. The last 4 years you all described my life perfectly. Uck. Here's hoping my new job actually pays off well. Well then, good luck, man. Hope you get lucky. Thanks. Got lucky recently with a free college course and apprenticeship, so hopefully. Don't forget to throw in some student loan debt. What if the front fell off? Well, then we just have to tow it outside of the environment. Into another environment? No, it's been towed beyond the environment. And they have no access to the amenities of their former wage. Especially the networking factors. Can't just call up your billionaire buddy to grant you a small loan of $1 million. I was thinking more like crashing on their couch or using their cars, but good point. More like sleep in their guest house. Broken down car? Nah. He would have to do his commute in public transport full of other people also going to work and deal with delays and strikes, as he wouldn't have money to afford a car. See, that's why you give them a car first and then they have to take public transport. It would really drive the point home. Put them in small town middle America. No public transportation. Or in a suburb in America with no public transport, because it'll bring those kinds of people here. By which our mayor meant poor people, who are already here, drug addicts, again, here already, gang members, again, here, and homeless people, yup, already here. Edit, thanks for the silver, stranger, D. Public transport on strike the very day their car breaks down. I doubt that. The big problem with poverty is that indeed all those problems arise and have to be taken head on. But without any better future in sight. It makes you numb. A billionaire can mentally better cope with that, as he can count down the days until the hardships will be over. The other problem with this idea is that the billionaire doesn't carry the emotional baggage. Soon as the show's over, he goes back to being a billionaire. It's short-term pain at best, not the ongoing worry of but what if. So, real life for the rest of us? I want to watch this. Somebody produce this show right now. And no scripted crap. Just real life hitting him in the face. We're talking about reality TV here. What do you mean by no scripted crap? With an hour commute both ways. Oh, and throw in a wager. The employee chosen for the CEO to bear the salary is given the month's salary of the CEO if the CEO quits before the end. They give it to them anyway as a feel-good finale. And they can't choose February as one of their months. Although I'd like to see them have to have December so they have to deal with Christmas. Imagine the CEO of Walmart working for Walmart in the holiday season, November, December, January. Imagine Bezos working for Amazon in the same period. Now, if you really want to punish them, make them work January to March. While the holidays are bad, after the holidays the company cuts hours down so bad that some people only get to work 2 days a week. That itself is almost punishment enough. The worry and stress, trying to pay the outrageous bills from Christmas with a check 1/3 the size of the last few weeks, kids probably starting to get sick, etc. Sure, I had to resort to being a homeless cannibal for 10 weeks, but it really wasn't that bad. Well, that's the thing. I love the idea in theory, but they'll just feel good about themselves for surviving it and say if they can do it, so can these poors. Also, there's nothing real in reality TV. So bottom line, I think there's a good chance it could do more harm than good, make the billionaires look good and the poor people look like whiners, to anyone who could do something about it. Especially considering the fact that A, the billionaire knows that it's temporary, and B, they'll kill the show or fake things if things get too out of hand for him to handle. No way in hell the producers would let the billionaire stay a month in a homeless shelter. Exactly. It's not the same thing. They would be doing it for other motives. And their image. They could easily do a month for good publicity. I've heard the saying, I can handle anything, anything at all, for 1 minute. Now, I don't believe that's true, at the very least, for me, but the idea is exactly that, it's not so bad to do it. It's when you have to keep doing it, that it becomes the real torture. The drop of water on the head torture, for reference. 1? Fine. 1,000, 1,000,000, so many you've lost count? Madness. And they would know that they just have to make it through this month/few months and then go back to their comfy life. Us low-paid workers have none of that to look forward to. Just more crappy poverty. Forever and ever. This is so true. I've done the Ration Challenge, which is a fundraiser where you only eat Syrian refugee rations for a week, and I can't emphasize hard enough that the only thing keeping me going was knowing it was only 7 days. Doing something temporarily does not affect you in any way like the real thing does. I can't imagine what it would be like to live off those rations indefinitely. And although they have to deal with the lower quality of life, they don't have to deal with the crippling stress of how they will pay their bills, etc., which is much, much worse than a month of crappy food. Thank you for watching. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube. And share them with your friends. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. We welcome your comments below. Another of our videos will begin shortly.